So we have a two-part crossover in this with Henry and the Game Shakers. It was fine. What's funny enough is the villain of the episode is Dr. Maniac. 2 seasons ago, Triple G was a character in Henry Danger very briefly, and he worked with Dr. Maniac. So it's kind of weird that Triple G is now in Henry Danger, and they don't reference that at all. We have an episode where Charlotte gets in a fight with this girl. She eventually becomes friends with her, but of course, Captain Man and Kid Danger decided to do something more drastic and got her arrested. So, you know, kind of sucks for her. The next episode, Ray is convinced that Henry is lying about being sick, so he plants cameras on his house to spy on him. It's kind of weird. I didn't really care for this episode. It was fine. It has a meme that surfaced from this episode in it. Um, you know, Kid Danger lies because he knows that they're on to him. Well, not on to him. Charlotte calls and tells him that they're trying to see if he's sick or not. So he decides to lie and say that he's trying to skip work because he doesn't want to be Kid Danger anymore. And he says that he's working with some villain to kill Ray, and that's when Ray realizes that he's not telling the truth. So the rock box dump. Captain Man mentions that Henry Danger has Kid Danger has a superpower called hypermotility, and people think it's a disease. So Piper decides to do a rock box dump on her head to support the disease or something. Um, it's a fine episode. The rocks end up landing on Captain Man because he's indestructible. The next episode, they watch a cartoon about Captain Man and Kid Danger. It's terrible. They decide to make their own. They were clearly just promoting their little spin-off show, which was an animated Henry Danger show. I never watched that, and honestly, I never planned to. Um, but, it's an okay episode, I guess. Now, this episode, I don't really care for. It's not exactly bad, but, Piper ends up reeling Henry to go do something for her. It goes wrong, and, eventually it goes her way. She likes this guy, and she lies about being a nurse, and they're together now or something. It's just kind of dumb. We then get a two-parter where Drex is trying to get rid of Captain Man's indestructibility, and he actually succeeds, but not for long because they fixed that. It's a fine two-parter. I didn't really care for it. Captain Man and Kid Danger are assigned to protect a diamond, and they end up failing to do that. We have a character here that plays a security guard. We actually see her again next season, which is just something I wanted to point out. The Vice Mayor decides to do budget cuts. He is a character we see from now on a few times. He makes a few appearances, but this was his first episode. He does budget cuts. It affects Captain Man and Kid Danger's ability to fight crime, and the way the man cave is run, and so on and so on. It's kind of weird to find out that they're being paid to fight crime, basically by the government. Um, I don't really know what to do with that information. Um, wouldn't that mean that they have some way of an access to know where the man cave is? I don't know, but that's something they've added now. Of course, they end up getting their money back by the end of the episode, so, problem solved. We have an episode where they bring back Frankini. We've only seen him once. This is his second appearance. Captain Man and Kid Danger break him out of jail and swap bodies, just so they can go, convince this guy to not hurt this old lady because he was like somewhat friends with Frankini. Um, it's kind of weird to see Frankini's downfall, even though we had never seen him before. He was introduced in his first episode as like a celebrity, like people liked him until the whole Captain Man thing that he did. So I don't really get how he became a supervillain because of like one bad thing he did. And they broke him out of jail. Um, it's a fine episode. The toddler is brought back, and they reference an iCarly joke for some reason. The toddler talks about how he doesn't wear diapers anymore, and then Henry makes fun of him and tells him to do something. But it's clearly a reference to the later season in iCarly when Gibby's like cousin or nephew, I don't remember what, I told him to take his shirt off, and Gibby told him he didn't do that anymore. It was like line by line, besides, the fact that it was a diaper instead of a shirt. It's a fine episode. It's a very weird reference, but, it was funny. Um, Captain Man and Kid Danger are trying to take Charlotte to this music concert, but they keep getting emergency alerts, so they have to keep doing stuff. It's a pretty funny episode. I really liked this one. Captain Man and Dr. Maniac fight in a spelling bee, and Captain Man actually decides to not be a selfish asshole for once. It's very surprising. He realizes how much it means to Charlotte to win this spelling bee, and he purposely loses. Um, did not expect that at all. I thought they were gonna swerve and him do it anyway, and like him go up and laugh at her face or something. But no, he actually decides to do something nice. And the episode before that, I skipped over it just because I didn't really care for it, but I still want to talk about it. Um, Captain Man's ex-wife, girlfriend, whatever, is back in his life and has a supposedly more successful, boyfriend. Little does she know he's Captain Man. Well, he ends up lying and saying that Henry and Jasper and Charlotte are his kids and he takes care of them and he has a nice house and everything. So they like hack the subway to keep his parents on the subway. You know, the boyfriend ends up being a bad guy and trying to steal an invention that Solange made that Captain Man claims is his. And it wasn't tested for humans. So they get like seriously messed up and they just kind of drop him off someplace. Kind of a dark ending, but pretty funny. Now, I forgot why, but the next episode, Henry's dad gets, promoted. He's going to be a project manager. Apparently that's bad. So Henry and Ray go to stop him, and they accidentally blow up the Friddle place again. It's a pretty funny episode, but I forget why they needed to stop him from getting that promotion. Piper is kidnapped by a monster, but it turns out it's not really kidnapping because, like, he will let them go at any point. It's still kidnapping. It's still kidnapping. I do feel bad for the guy. He ends up still getting one friend though. Ray blows up the portal so he can never leave again. But Oliver is still there. Henry and Ray have to go up the man cave stairs because they want to go eat the celebrity's food. It's a pretty fun episode, but there isn't that much to talk about. Um, Ray accidentally destroys one of Henry's dad's prized possessions, So Henry has to pay to get it fixed. So he hosts a party to get it fixed. The guy that ends up fixing it, he later appears in the Henry Danger musical and helps Franchini fix something. I thought that was a cool thing to mention. And the finale, they introduce this like virtual reality thing or like motion sensor video game that, Jasper and Charlotte and all of them are playing. Of course, it's used later in the episode because Henry and Captain Man get sprayed with flabbergas, which leaves them paralyzed. So they control their bodies with the video game systems to make them fight. Captain Man gets, not even Captain Man, Henry Danger gets thrown through a fucking window, and it is just nuts. I did not expect that at all. There's plenty of gags like that in the show, but nothing that extreme. Like, I did not expect someone to get thrown through a window in Henry Danger. Um, so yeah, pretty solid season.